Right now, I want to welcome to the show NRA's Illinois lobbyist, Mr. Todd Vandermine. How you doing tonight, Todd?
Oh, not too terrible. Been killing some ducks, so life isn't all bad.
Excellent. That's very good to hear. And, I ran across something else that was interesting today in Chicago. Looks like there was a guy who ended up shooting a burglary suspect. A man trying to steal a radiator and scrap metal from the backyard of a South Chicago residence was surprised by the man living there who shot him in the leg. A 52-year-old resident there told police he had been awakened by a security alarm system, finding somebody rummaging through scrap metal he had put there the day before. Resident retrieved his .22 caliber rifle and fired on the backyard intruder. Resident looks like is a legal gun owner. Police still investigating the incident. Last time we talked, Todd, we were discussing the town hall meetings in Chicago regarding right to carry and the fact that you had a majority of those in attendance who were actually in support of right to carry. I wonder what a story like this does to the conversation there in Chicago.
Well, I think it simply adds fuel to the growing momentum that we have. That, even behind the Iron Curtain of the People's Republic of Chicago, people want to retain firearms for self-defense as well as other lawful reasons. So we know from the past veto session last week that the anti-gunners are very upset and displeased with what took place in Oak Park. They were hoping that they could turn out 100 or more bodies, and they failed miserably. And it has some of them second-guessing their own movement from the standpoint that in their backyard of Oak Park, or as we call the People's Republic of Oak Park, that they are unable to, pack the room. What does it say about their movement?
Well, I would say that in the wake of the McDonald decision, as more residents of Chicago start to recognize that Chicago's handgun ban was struck down, and the city has still made it incredibly difficult for them to become legal gun owners. Meanwhile, the criminals still have the upper hand. I'm guessing that the gun control argument is largely falling apart in Chicago these days.
And I think they're seeing it. There's open rifts within segments that they thought would be their base. And we know that this past week in the General Assembly, a task force was created by Representative Ford to study the issue of right to carry and to sit down and have a report presented to the General Assembly by March 1st.
By March the 1st of next year?
Yes.
Really? So what would that mean, Todd, in terms of pushing right to carry in the next legislative session?
Well, it's going to depend on what the report of the task force looks like. We think the task force appears on its face to be somewhat balanced. We had a little bit of some fun as there was an amendment offered that stripped the Cook County State's Attorney's Office out of the task force, and then they fought to get back in. They have a hard time understanding that to some people, Cook County is not special. They are just one of 102 counties. But Representative Ford asked they be put back in. They were put back on the task force, and so NRA has a seat on the task force. ISRA has a seat on the task force. The State Police, the Sheriff's Association, the State's Attorneys Association, and we understand that one of the advocates that have been leading the charge on right to carry within the State's Attorneys Association is asked to be placed to have their seat on the task force. So I think that, it's going to be a good venue for us to put our points across and to try to develop a good record. I mean, we see the VPC turn out these bogus reports week in and week out. Well, I think this is a chance for us to take the General Assembly's stamp of approval and put together a fact-based report that compares the 49 other states to Illinois and show why everything that the other side claims will happen won't happen.
And it's on the one hand, Todd, it's kind of sad that we have to go through this again, given the fact that we have 41 shall issue states. But I understand every state is new. You've got to make these arguments. Luckily, I think for the proponents of right to carry in Illinois, the arguments are on our side. As I mentioned, we've got 41 shall-issue states now, with Wisconsin becoming the latest. And again, you've seen the demand in Wisconsin. The stats speak for themselves. The violent crime rate lower in shall-issue states than in may-issue or the state of Illinois. And what kind of impact do you think Wisconsin's new right to carry law is going to have on the debate?
It's put an added pressure on us. We are hearing more and more from people inside Cook County about, the legislators inside Cook County about what's going on. I think some of the statistics coming out of Wisconsin, the fact that there were 80,000 downloads of the application in the first 24 hours, that according to a news report I saw today, that they had received 30,000 applications. We know that there are certain people within government that are taking some serious looks at the revenue stream that this could potentially generate, simply because, Illinois, we're broke. I mean, we're borderline Greece right now with the way our budget is, and it's not getting any better. And they're trying to figure out, how to cobble together some budget, because the one they passed last year isn't working, and so they're trying to make it right. And when you start talking about our projection, Wisconsin, I think, is a very realistic projection on numbers from what I'm seeing right now as to where we would be. And when you start talking about between 80,000 and 120,000 Illinois residents, in the first year looking to get a permit, and the fees that are associated with it, you're talking, $10 million to the state police. That becomes, to some people, their principles seem to go out the window because they want the revenue for their programs.
Okay.
I mean, you can convert bureaucrats and, anti-gunners who are anti-gun on the face of things, but when you sit there and say that, guess what? Not only are we going to build you a better system for, tracking bad guys, but we're going to pay for it. And you show them that the revenue projections you're talking about aren't something that are fancifully dreamed up on a bar napkin. People have a tendency to start changing. We've seen some of that. We've seen there are people within branches of state government who definitively see the revenue side of this and are licking their chops. We were talking at the time permit fee of about $100 with $75 going to the state police. So just on that aspect alone, we're not talking Bloomberg-style fees on any of this stuff. So, I continue to see momentum building. Everybody acknowledges that we had 65 votes at the tail end of the roll call last time, where we were 6 short of a supermajority. And so now we're working towards that. I believe that because of various town hall meetings that have been organized at the grassroots level, mind you, NRA is not going out setting these up. These are taking place because NRA members and gun owners on their own, with the help of groups like the State Rifle Association and Illinois Carry, are coming in and setting these up. And we are marching into the Lion's Den. We're going to the south side of Chicago. We're going to the west side of Chicago. We're going to Oak Park. The liberal enclaves, or that's what the other side thought they were. And we're willing to sit down and have a rational conversation with these people. And the fact that we can have more people who think like us turn out at these meetings is being very unsettling. And I think it goes to the momentum swing that is going our way since, the Heller decision.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. So what should gun owners in Illinois be doing right now, Todd?
Well, there are a couple of individuals who are trying to get on the ballot in various parts of Chicago and the suburbs, in like the 31st district and I believe the 16th district. And if you are in either one of those districts, I would strongly urge you to, look around on the forums like on Illinois Carry, or drop me an email through the State Rifle Association line, and get out there and hustle for those good candidates. They need signatures to get on the ballot. You can't have a choice on the ballot if they don't get on the ballot. And we've always talked about, people complain how anti-gunners run unopposed year after year in safe districts. Well, here's a chance to make a difference right now. To sit there and put some, shoe leather on the street. And if you don't live in the district, but you are somebody who votes in a Democratic primary, you can go to those areas and walk petitions for them. You need to be, of the Democratic Party because they're running in Democratic primaries, and you have to declare yourself in Illinois. Aside from that, I would say keep up on your friends and family and calling to legislators and letting them know that this is not going off your radar screen. I'm amazed how many legislators stop me in the hallway and say, as they were getting their petition signed and knocking on doors, the number of people that are asking them about this issue. It seems to be one of the top issues across the board that they continuously get asked about. So I think that we came a lot farther last year than anybody thought we would. I think we've got a little bit more to go, and we will have I think 2012 is shaping up to be a good year with a good report out of the task force that is fair to our position and what hasn't happened in 49 other states that have been a laboratory. I think it may provide the cover that certain legislators need to make the right vote.
All right. Well, listen, Todd, happy to have you with us on the show tonight, sir. And I know we'll be talking quite often as we get closer to the start of the next legislative session there in Illinois.
No problem, Cam.
All right. Thanks so much, sir. Todd Vandermeide, NRA's Illinois lobbyist, joined us here tonight.